Well, a report out today paints a dire picture for California in the coming decades when it comes to climate change. Among the findings, the report predicts that the number of large wildfires in the state will increase by 50% by the year 2100. The report also predicted the area burned by those fires would increase by 77%. That is a dire prediction considering that CAL FIRE says we already are close to having a year-round fire season.
And joining us now with more on this report is Professor Eugene Cordero with San Jose State's Department of Meteorology and Climate Science. Eugene, thanks for being here. It is kind of hard to imagine the situation, especially with the fires here in California, getting any worse than it is now. How much worse are things going to get?
Well, if we let the climate continue to warm in the trajectory that it's going, we're going to see warmer temperatures, more erratic rainfall distributions, and that's going to set us up for even more potential for fires. And you know, the report that just came out from California today was illustrating, you know, how much worse things can get. So we're already seeing it happening right now today. And if we don't take actions, not only in California, but globally to remedy the situation, we're going to see this as a bigger and bigger part of California's world.
Okay, so Professor, what action do you think we should be taking?
Well, we should be, I guess we really look at two things. One is that we need to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases. So we need to, and California is taking some good steps in that direction, but there's a lot more we can do. And then we also have to adapt to a warmer climate. And in terms of fire, for example, there's things we can do to try to reduce the fuel on the ground. But probably the most important thing is taking climate change seriously, looking at real leadership in that area, and reducing emissions and doing other things in our communities to prepare for this.
But Professor, when you talk about reducing the wildfire fuel, are you talking about forest thinning? Because as you know, that's very controversial.
It is, and this is a good type of question to be asking, is that how do we respond to climate change, not whether it's happening or not. And we're going to have to figure this out together as to how much of the forest are we going to leave and how much are we going to thin. And certainly that's an area of active discussion that we should all be having. And we'll hopefully make those decisions in a way that manages the different interests. But we certainly have to acknowledge that our climate is changing, that we have to prepare for that.
Okay, along with the threat of even more destructive fires down the road, this climate change assessment also addresses our issues here in California having to do with water. Specifically, we need to be very concerned about rising sea levels, beach erosion. How much higher is the water going to go?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're going to continue to see sea levels going up by two factors. One is the melting of glaciers and snow, but also as the oceans warm, they expand, and that expansion is going to cause, again, a rise in sea level. So that's one issue that California is facing in terms of water. The other being, where do we get most of our water for drinking, for agriculture, for industry? And that's really the big thing that we're going to see is in the reservoirs and in the snowpack. We're going to see less snowpack. We might get the same amount of rain in the year, but a lot of it's going to come in the wintertime and run off. And if we don't build bigger dams and bigger reservoirs, we're going to lose that water into the ocean. And that's going to be a really big issue for us in the coming decades.
All right, certainly a troubling assessment there, but it is our reality down the road. That's Professor Eugene Cordero from San Jose State University. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Well, at least the current weather is